Hey, it's Jamila, and today we are talking about a subject I've touched on before, but with a different aspect. We are talking about life after an unwanted divorce. And so, who I'm speaking to is that woman who didn't see it coming, who felt like the rug got pulled out from under her, who maybe is a little disoriented about life, but has finally reached the point to where she feels like she's ready to go into a new relationship, but wants to do some inner work first before she moves forward in order to make sure that this next relationship goes a lot better than the previous. So I talked about it in a video called Life After an Unwanted Divorce, How to Know When You're Ready for a Relationship. So I would encourage you to watch that first. But we're going to talk today about specifically self-worth and moving forward into a new relationship. So when it comes to our self-worth, what am I talking about? So I'm talking about how you really feel about yourself, how you really see yourself. Do you see yourself as being ugly, unattractive? Do you call yourself names like you're so stupid, or you're not worthy, or no one would ever love you? Are these the type of dark, ugly, abusive, really, things that you say to yourself in the back of your mind deep down that maybe people who know you might have no clue that this is really the way you feel about yourself? I mean, we all do it, right? We all beat ourselves up at different times for different reasons, for different things. But really, we're talking about that's what we're talking about, is those voices, those, it's one thing to say, man, I should have done that, that was a mistake. But it's another thing when we're constantly and repeatedly telling ourselves things that the truth is they're not true, but we believe it. And the fact of the matter is if that is the case with us, let's just take the one uh, bad thing maybe you're saying to yourself, or negative thing. I'm unattractive, or I'm not beautiful. Clearly, when we have this type of negative self-talk, we can link it back to some incident, some traumatic thing that happened to us when we were a child, or someone who repeatedly said these types of negative things to us. Maybe we were victims of bullying or abuse, and so we began to believe these things that were told to us and assimilate them into our person, so that we no longer needed the bully or the abuser to tell us. We began bullying and abusing ourselves, because that's really what it is. Because if you were to say the words that you say to yourself to someone else, they'd be like, those are fighting words, or I need to call the cops, for assault and battery, verbally. Okay. So it's not okay for you to say those things to yourself. But you may go, okay, yeah, that's fine, Jamila, I get that, but how do I stop? Well, first of all, you have to acknowledge that it's even an issue. And if it's an issue, then speaking to that previous subject about, are you ready to move forward in a relationship? No, you're not. Why? Because it is not anyone else's job on the planet to make you feel good about being you. That comes from the inside out, because as long as you have that voice on the inside of you that is saying, and again, we're just talking about this one subject, I'm unattractive. If you have that little voice inside of you that's saying over and over to you, I'm unattractive, another person can tell you all day long how gorgeous and beautiful you are, and you'll believe it in the second. But that voice is going to start up again. Yeah, well, they're just saying that because of this and that. I don't really mean that. Or, oh, girl, don't let them see you with no makeup on, or whatever. You'll start talking yourself out of even believing the compliment. It'll make you uncomfortable because you're like, oh, thank you, and you'll say, I need to hear that, I want that reassurance. But you're putting the responsibility on an external individual to make you feel good about being you. And that, number one, isn't going to work. And that, number two, is not fair, because you cannot expect another person to make you and your issues their full-time job. That's not fair. Everybody, yes, when you're in a relationship, you should exchange compliments and say positive things to one another to encourage each other and build each other up. But again, it's not the other individual's job to make you feel good in your own skin. They couldn't do it anyway, even if they wanted to. It has to come from the inside out. And this is so important because let's say this was your inner dialogue, right? That you're unattractive, you're unworthy, you're unloved. And then you go through that marriage, that ended in divorce. And let's say, obviously, it was an unwanted divorce. So there was some level of rejection there on some level. And perhaps you have taken that and added that to your internal dialogue and said, see, that's why, this happened or he left or this, that, and the others, because I'm this or that, or I'm not worthy, or I'm ugly, or I'm so this or so that. It's like you're just confirming, you're using that situation to confirm what you already believed about yourself. And trust and know this, that as long as you continue to tell yourself these negative things, you will create the very circumstances that you don't want to have happen, because deep down, that's really what you feel you deserve. Even though it doesn't make sense, you know what I'm saying? If you're constantly telling yourself, I'm not worthy, I'm not attractive, what kind of person do you think you're going to be drawn to? What kind of person do you think you're going to find yourself in a relationship with? Not the kind that you actually really need to be with. But again, as I mentioned in my other video, you've got to make yourself whole first. You've got to become whole and learn how to love yourself, be comfortable in your own skin, know that you are worthy and deserve all of the good things that come your way. And you don't have to prove that to anyone. You don't have to prove your worth to anyone. The simple fact that you exist and are here is enough reason for you to deserve to be treated with human decency and respect and love and kindness. That's it. And so this point is so important because so many of us are chasing a person to fix us when the person we need to be fixing is ourselves. We have to fix ourselves. And sometimes it's going to be difficult because, as I mentioned before in the other video, people will think, oh, that's going to be so painful, or, oh, I don't want to go down that road and talk about all these, painful or traumatic things. Well, if you don't want to do the work, then you really aren't trying to be in a better relationship, because until you grow and you change, you can't level up. You can't move up and attract someone, the person that's really truly right for you, until you heal yourself and become whole and fix all that trauma and damage. Because this person, like I said, they can't fix you. No one can fix you but you. And you have to want to do the work, and you have to be willing to be open and vulnerable. And it may hurt, but it's going to feel so much better than the pain that you may have to work through. That's just temporary. It's not like you're going to be wallowing in self-pity for days or whatever. You just you work. It's a process. You work through it. That's it. So that's just what I wanted to touch on today, is talking about self-worth, is that it is extremely important that we learn how to love ourselves, to give ourselves what we did not get from our parents, from our ex-mate, whatever, so that we are comfortable in our own skin, so that we are whole, so that we feel worthy, and then are able to go forward and attract that relationship that we so desperately want and deserve, right? Because you truly are a wonderful and amazing person. You just don't know it. You don't believe it. And that's the issue. You've got to come to believe all the wonderful things that people tell you about yourself. And those things, those negative things that you heard in the past from people who themselves were broken or who themselves were victims of abuse or whatever, you no longer have to accept that as your own truth. It was never true in the first place. But you have to stop being your own internal abuser, your own internal bully. Know that you cannot fix what's inside by dressing up the outside. You can get all the hair extensions and weave and makeup you want to, but if on the inside you still don't feel like you are attractive or worthy, then the inside won't match the outside. And you want the inside to match the outside. So this is just a further encouragement for you to do the work on yourself, and you can do it. And if you need a little help in that regard, if you're not exactly sure, okay, well, where do I start? How does this go? I actually have a program, where I work with women who are, coming out of that unwanted divorce, but who want to move forward in a new relationship, want to do the inner work to fix themselves so that they can get that relationship that they want and deserve and move forward, get clarity even on what it is that they want, that relationship to look like, and what qualities they want in that person. And so if you need help going through that process, some people can do it on their own. I was able to do it on my own. I did have coaching myself along the way. The truth of the matter is nobody ever truly does it alone. But if you need that assistance from someone who maybe is not, sometimes it's a challenge can be if it's someone who maybe was close to the situation or is a personal friend, that they may or may not have the maturity or the objectivity to truly help you, make this transformation and grow and upgrade. And so if you really want the help and you really want to turn things around for yourself over the next 90 days, by all means, visit my website, coachjamila.com, fill out the contact me form. We'll set up a time to talk and see if we're a good fit and if I can help you go through this process of transition and growth in your life. But be sure to visit coachjamila.com. And if you scroll down, you'll see a box that says subscribe. Put your email address in there, and I will actually send you my signature 6-step process on how to get what you want. Now, this process can absolutely be applied to a relationship and really to anything else that you want in your life that's positive and good and going to be healthy for you. You can use this process, and it's totally free. It's a PDF. I'm happy to send it to you. But like I said, just visit me on coachjamila.com, fill out the contact me or the subscribe, and I'll get that over to you ASAP. And if you have any questions or comments about this subject, feel free to comment below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe. I'm absolutely going to be talking more about this subject, more about some of the things that I did to help myself move through this process. I hope that this content and information will be helpful for you if you find yourself in these circumstances. Yes, it's unfortunate what happened, with your previous relationship, but you think of this as an opportunity to really start fresh and anew and become the best version of yourself, a better version of you, and move forward. This can be a good thing. When things happen, our perspective really is what's going to color how we move forward. And so once we've kind of healed and that acute emotional pain is gone, let's see if we can't use this situation that was negative and painful and get something positive from it. Allow it to propel us to the next level in our life, to where we look back and go, thank you, I'm so glad you did that. Because, wow, I wouldn't be where I am right now if that hadn't happened. All right. So you ladies take care, and I look forward to seeing you here as I make more videos.